Hey guys, if you're looking for a top 10 countdown on current anime with lots of fighting, blood, and guts, you need to look no further. Here's my top 10 best spring 2018 action anime list. Hope you enjoy! What I took from this anime was that these two guys live in a world where dragons attack and you get paid by an association to take them out. They have spell formulas called Jushiki that can be used by special weapons. They vary in strength and size, but it seems that the more powerful and plentiful your jewels are, the stronger the weapon will be. One can assume this by how angry one of the guys is when the other shows up with a new jewel for his weapon and puts them further into debt. You would think being a dragon slayer and putting your life on the line all the time would pay well, but it apparently doesn't. Another vampire-filled world is thrown at us, but in this world vampires do not have to have human blood to survive. The blood is optional, but they still crave it, and then once they get a taste of it, they end up killing and raping their victims. What makes other vampires live makes these vampires go insane. When they start to become a threat to society, the half-human, half-vampire main character and his squad go to take care of the problem. Human and vampire marriages are actually allowed in this world somehow, but with very crazy strict rules, such as no sex unless a doctor is present, in case the vampire goes out of control and tries to kill their loved one. So this anime is going to have a lot of brutal killing by vampires. Everything about this show seems to be about ranking and titles and whose ego and intellect can outwit and outmaneuver the other. The strategic battle moves mixed with egotism. That sounds familiar. We see the typical space battle in this anime, but with nice animation and a really sexy blonde guy named Reinhardt. This anime had an alternate version that aired from 1988 to 1997, but the knowledge of that show isn't really needed to watch this version. It's about two sides fighting for control and power. Both sides seem to have similarities to them, but they are different at the same time. What I found most similar between the two factions is the egotism that comes from the guys in charge. On both sides, the leaders were being questioned about their decisions, and on both sides, they were brushed off. However, one side was correct to ignore their pleas to retreat, whereas the other side was just being stubborn and didn't want to be told what to do by a less superior position. It starts off with the main character away at war. You see tons and tons of action and bloodshed within the first few minutes. Then there is a small time leap and you find out he survives the war and gains an immortal nickname. His best friend, however, was not so lucky and left behind a kid and a blind widow. His dying wish was for his best friend to find gold during the gold rush to help support his family he left behind. The main character is working on this when he hears a secret about a map being tattooed on the backs of some prisoners that escaped. Lo and behold, a bear kills one of the prisoners, so he is able to skin the guy to get his piece of the map, but only after partnering up with a badass little girl and taking on a freaking giant killer bear. So this may sound kinda weird, but the only thing I could think of while watching this anime so far was Call of Duty. Others have claimed it made them think of other games like Fortnite and PUBG. It could possibly be because of the new characters and no familiar faces to focus on, or maybe it's because there is a lot of strategic group plays to take down the other team you're up against. The only factor that differed and stood out to me is the adorable little girl in pink that can hide in suitcases because of her small stature, crazy demon speed, and that she can take out everyone in a flash. She gives us short girls some good reps. At the very start, you see the police chasing after a guy who has stolen something. They end up capturing him and then beat the shit out of him for information. An unknown woman comes in afterwards and the flashbacks begin. The protagonist transfers to a new school because his parents sent him away for a little while due to him being suspended from his old school. On the first day at his new school, he goes into an alternate dimension and his persona awakens. His fellow awakened friends join him and together they create the Phantom Thieves. If you haven't played any of the games before, it may be a little hard to follow at first, but don't let this detour you from this anime because it's still really enjoyable. Since this is the 4th season of High School DxD, you would think we could know what to expect from it more or less by now, but this season threw everyone through a loop with a new crazy art style. Love it or hate it, the content isn't any worse. There is still plenty of action and fan service to go around. Rias is still sexy as ever and Akeno is still slick, if not more so than before. Issei is, well, Issei. Everyone has badass powers and Issei is using his red dragon armor. I know that this is an action review, so I need to focus on the fights in this anime, but damn does this fan service turn up the heat in this season! For real though, it is cool that Issei found someone so similar to his fighting style that you can hopefully learn some things from one day. Everyone was super hyped for the 3rd season of Tokyo Ghoul, but the new characters threw everyone through a loop to begin with. There are still really cool fights to watch with awesome cool powers, it's just different people. The new team has to work together in order to take down ghouls. The person in charge of them is a half-ghoul and the strongest one of them all. One kid gets angry that he is so weak in comparison and decides he wants to upgrade his power despite the associated risks. Oh, didn't I mention? The new cast is made up of humans that participate in special operations to give them ghoul powers. They aren't actually ghouls themselves. And I promise things clear up later, so be sure you don't pass up on this one. This anime shocked me the most out of all of them this season. I did not expect myself to like this anime at all. I've never been into any type of sport anime before. I especially never thought I would watch one about boxing. But this anime beats any and all expectations I had set for it. The action is so realistic, and the sound effects and music they pair with the fight and the whole show in general just pull you in so much. You sympathize with the main character nicknamed Junk Dog right away and want to see him be able to do well and succeed instead of have to purposely lose because the only way he can work is through a shady partner because he isn't technically considered a legal citizen. It's so not fair. He is clearly more talented than all the people he has to fake a defeat to, and it kills me that it has to be like that for him. I can't wait to see him kick lots of ass. The third season of Hero Academia is nothing to laugh at. Just kidding. It totally has a lot of humor still and cute romance moments between the characters, but as we know from the end of last season, this time we're going to be getting a lot more fighting, and it will get even darker than the glimpse we saw last season more than likely. Midoriya is getting better at using his powers in everyday life, but everyone in the class learns that while they are getting more skillful with their powers, their strength has not increased by all that much, so they are going to a summer training camp to work on that. They begin a crazy test through a forest against a ton of giant monsters that one of the pros sicks on them. They have to continue to work together and focus on making themselves stronger. It's too bad the villains can't give them the opportunity to do so. Nicknamed Junk Dog. And if you like what you see, remember to like, subscribe, ring the bell, and drop me a comment.